tell you a fool for this one. That's right. FHO. Yeah, let's roll. Huh? FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio. Big sell in your radio. Best podcast show since the Misfits couldn't carry on. But I'ma carry on and get the party cracking. The homegirl 7 carats known for text blasting. Yeah, she on the rock. If you want action, 800 plus, it's a known fashion. Keep her back up playing cause the wheels cracking. Big Cell can keep it real. What a passion. All gas, no break, in and out of traffic. You see your brother on a hole, respect the passions. Whether they outlaws or outcasts. Big Cell's top 5 when you in traffic. Roger Rod, mind your business, stay in your own lane. Respect others in the sector game. Red, black love, the old fashioned way. You miss the West with the South, this a master pass. FHO, FHO.
This is FHO Live Podcast, where the truth will be told. We promise you that.
FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio.
Again, appreciate y'all, man. I love you guys. Thank you for the calls. Thank you for the donations. No doubt. Don't forget, man, support the channel, support the platform. I need you. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. And again, man, I love you guys. Don't forget the 5 things I'm gonna leave you with. Ride your own ride, stay in your own lane, mind your business, have enough love in yourself to have some love for me. We're gonna ride for love and let it ride, man. We gone, man.
FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio.
Crazy, man.
What's up, Big Cell? This is your boy, Pastor Nate from Enlightened Ministry Bible Church from Los Angeles, California. When we're not riding, we listen to FHO Podcast Radio.
Yo, this is Visions by Cinnamon Smiles. If I'm not advertising, networking, or promoting for you, I'm tuned in to FHO Radio with Big Cell, shawty.
What up? I listen to my Uncle Big Cell in the FHO Radio.
What's going on, man? What's happening? What it is? It's another Wednesday night MC101 Traditional Protocol, hosted by my man Two Guns, hosted by your boy Big Cell, man. We on, man. It's been a hell of a week, man, since the last time we was on here, Gun.
Man, it's like the world changed, didn't it?
All of a sudden. So what you? Yeah, what you got? What you got? What you been up to?
Man, just trying to dealing with this, whatever this shit is, man. This Corona shit, or Rona. But it's just been crazy, man. Especially at work because, like a lot of people, I work with OSHA, so I don't know why the fuck people think OSHA got anything to do with coronavirus, but it is what it is. So I mean, I guarantee you, man. Like I usually do, it ain't like a hotline, but it is people that call in on the line just to ask questions and things like that about some standards and stuff like that. I guarantee you I probably got 25 calls yesterday, and it was 15, 20 of them was all about the coronavirus. And the other 2 or 3 that was there had some relationship to the coronavirus. So, man, people freaking out, man. Just, it ain't nothing different, man,
Listen, man, I've been telling everybody I ain't gonna let the CVO 19 get me, man. That's what I call the CVO 19.
Shit, I ain't even worried about it. I put on my post. I said, man, shit, look, hey, if it take me out, I ain't got to worry about no drama no more bullshit. I'm just like, hey, it is what it is.
And that's some real shit right there. That is some real shit. I mean, also, and a lot of people, even people close to me, man, are mad that I'm not taking it as serious as I possibly should. But my whole thing of it is this, man. Whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be. And if I know I gotta go, then I'm gonna go out having fun, doing me, So it is what it is. I don't believe I'm going nowhere. God willing, He got it all in His hands. I'm a strong believer in that, and my thing, that's what I'm gonna stand on. And it just is what it is, man, for me. So, hey, to everybody, man, however you're dealing with this situation, deal with it. Take it as serious as you need to take it.
I'm waiting for the checks.
That's what you waiting on? Yeah, they waiting. They I call it the buyout money. You know what I'm saying? They gonna get you
the buyout money. He trying to buy election. So
that's what I'm saying. Now, when I give you this bread, play dead. That's what you do. When I give you, once I give you this bread, play dead. Don't have your ass at the polls hooping and hollering and raising all that noise. When I give you this bread, play dead. That would go and get your little money and go on to win, play dead when it comes time for this election. So
the crazy thing about it is people ain't even understanding it too. It was actually a bill that was brought out of the House to address it, and Mitt Romney picked it up and ran with it, and then all of a sudden, hey, he took advantage of it, seen it, and was like, shit, I'm gonna take me some advantage to make me some money, or give him some money and pay him off. So that's exactly what's up, man. So your noggins got to be a little bit smarter than just falling for the okie doke.
That part right there, man. So it is what it is. What we got? What we talking about tonight, man? Let's get into it. What we talking about?
Well, one of the things that I was looking back on a lot of the podcasts or whatever it is, and we address a lot of different changes and things like that. But one of the things I think was really glaringly missing from the podcast was the contributions of African Americans, blacks, and within the motorcycle community. And so that's really what I wanted to touch on right now, because when you're looking at two sides of whatever it is about diversity. It is about us coming into the 2000s. So there's changes that have come, there's things that have come, but those same elements are still out there, and we see it every day. We see it in the news. We see it even with the administration that we have in place right now, still kind of casting racist ideologies and things like that. So a lot of the foundations of what happened within the community started back before people were even riding motorcycles. And so, when you're looking at the process in terms of separations and the reasoning behind separations and the reason behind people were, a lot of the old school guys, man, they just kind of look at it like, look, man, we saw it, man, we've been through it. So, we got to see it 100% perspective. So we feel like, yes, now we can make the transitions. And that's one of the things I think goes unnoticed, and it goes unsaid, is the fact that there was a lot of things that happened and a lot of things that were addressed that, I said, just real talk, man, got swept under the rug, and it's still part of today's society, not as blatantly, but I would say within the last 3 years since this administration has come up, and even before that, 2015s and the 16s when the elections was coming up, people lost their fucking mind. I mean, they just started. It's like what I said. I said this to somebody, and I said, literally, this was about 2014. I said, is it the fact that people are just racist and they're racist, or is it the fact that we didn't give the racist people an avenue for them to let out their racist spew? Because these motherfuckers have lost their fucking mind right now with some of the stuff that they was doing and some of the things they was doing. And so that's kind of what I wanted to kind of talk on. I don't want to get too biased or too racial in terms of it, but I did want to talk about some of the things that blacks went through during the time frames in the early 1900s, 1920s, and just kind of address that into the 60s, and then what we're doing right now to just give a perspective and where the black dominants have taken us and where they brought us. And I don't think that gets a lot of respect, and it needs to.
Well, I'm gonna say this though, and the thing about it is this: history, and I want y'all to hear me when I say this. History is only important to the people that care about history. We're in a society, man, where we're in a time to whereas nobody cares about what used to be or what happened or what was. So for a lot of us, for a lot of us, Yeah, we know Ben Hardy. Yeah, we know Wild Bill. Yeah, we know Sugar Bear, and yeah, we know Toby Jean, and so forth and so on. And yeah. But what do they have to do with right now? And that's the part that's missed. And that's what you're talking about. That's the part that's missed. Because
Yeah.
if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't even be no right now. You
No.
understand what I'm saying? So what we're gonna ask everybody to do tonight is to just stop and think. Without your daddy, it wasn't no you. I don't give a fuck if he was there or not. I don't give a fuck if your daddy was a deadbeat, if he dropped the sperm and left. You understand what I'm saying? It still wouldn't be no you without him. And
Yeah.
a lot of times you miss, and that, a lot of times you miss it, and that's how the line gets crooked, and that's how we start crossing the line because nobody cared to understand why the line was, who drew the line, number one, who drew the line,
Absolutely.
and why they drew the line, and what was the purpose of the line. So
Yeah.
you just start crossing the line, and shit just get crazy, and that's where we are now. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, and one of the things that, I mean, I'll start off, and a lot of people, I mean, some people know my history, but, you know, as I was being raised, at 3 years old, I was adopted. I would get a little personal on it. I was adopted, and I was adopted into a black family in Oakland, California, like real talk. So me being as light-skinned as I was, my documentation never addressed that I was African-American. My documentation addressed that I was white and I was Mexican or Native American or whatever it is. A lot of people heard the story. It wasn't until 2017 that I actually was able to find out through DNA that my father, and it's not even a fact of, well, maybe, I met my brothers and I done ran with the same, you know, I know everybody that's associated with my family. I grew up with them, and that's just kind of weird that I grew up with them, but you know, knowing my history or whatever it is. So one day, I mean, and I would say this, and the reason why I kind of been standoffish in terms of the last 7 or 8 years of really talking, I had one of the dominants tell me, yeah, it's cool that you were on there talking or whatever it is, but you can't talk about blacks because you ain't black. And he was like, well, you black, but you're not black enough. And it was funny, the process that they made a comment about it, because I'm sitting there like looking at him like, man, you a shade dark lighter than me, motherfucker. You telling me I can't talk about black, you know, I can't. But so I'm hoping he out there hearing, man, fuck you, I'm gonna talk about it. How about that? So
that part right there.
You want to, yeah. But you know, it's like I go back to Bessie. We'll just talk about Bessie Stanford, a lady that kind of addressed it, and she started the process in this in the 20s. You know, she was riding and she was on that slab. I mean, she was going cross country back and forth. There's another young lady. I'm not gonna throw her name out there. She know who she is, but she done been back across about 10 times, documented 10 times. And you know, so you know, but these processes that came about, the times was just different back in those days. Now, my grandmother on my father's side, she was born in the 1890s, so she was a part of that whole process. My great grandmother was an actual slave in South Carolina, and they were able to get to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to get away from everything when after the Civil War and all that happened. So they was able to actually get the family away from the South and start moving to the West, going to Texas, Oklahoma first, Texas, and then into Stockton.
Hold on 1 second. Let me say that. If anybody know anything about, if you've done your history and you've done your homework, if you know anything about Tulsa, Oklahoma is where the Black Wall Street started, the original Black Wall Street. So that's just a little history facts. You can keep going.
Yeah. And so I was just going to address and walk into that, you know, with the family being in Tulsa. They was in Tulsa for a little bit, went down into Texas and settled in Texas and then moved across to California. But people don't understand, and to understand how bring it into the 60s. So, you know, we're not even going to talk about Black Wall Street, because Black Wall Street, if you do your history thing, y'all need to go in there and y'all need to actually learn about Black Wall Street. And you need to understand what happened during Black Wall Street, because Black Wall Street was a setup for the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and into the first part of the 69s into the 70s. And really, it never stopped. But the racial aspects of the America itself was at its high points within the 60s, 50, 58, 59s into the mid 60s, late 60s. And so what does that have to do with motorcycling? Well, guess what? Motherfuckers was riding that whole time, man. You know, blacks in terms of they were riding it that whole time. And let's just talk about Atlantic Bike Week. And we talked about that before, but that was specifically set up so that African Americans had a place that they could come to and congregate and enjoy themselves and have a good time.
Oh, so wait. So hold on. So you telling me that ain't for the kids that just bought a motorcycle 3-4 years ago? That ain't for them?
Man, the history of Atlantic Bike Week is so it's is so significant in the urban set that does not get the play it needs to get, because it was literally the only place on the in this side, East Coast in the South, that blacks could go to and actually ride their motorcycles.
Yeah, I mean, but they started it like 4 or 5 years ago, though, right?
Yeah, right. It didn't. And that's the whole thing that comes down to it. A lot of people don't have a history of that. I know you clowning, but a lot of people don't have that history, and people just like, oh yeah, it started in 2000. No, man, there's a lot of stuff that's going down in that. And so let's walk into the 60s, and the reason why there was so much segregation. Now, think about this. In 1950s, 1940s, you a black man with a motorcycle. You was the anomaly. So you have an individual come up to you and he looking at you with a motorcycle and wondering why the fuck he don't have a motorcycle. And the next thing you know, the hatreds had come out. They, there was killings, hangings. So you have to sit back and look at that and say, it wasn't a fact of Africans or blacks were creating issues or creating problems. They were being killed systematically because of the color of their skin. So naturally, when the black MCs started coming out, there's going to be segregation. There's going to be segregation because there was already segregation within the blacks and whites. And so a lot of people don't understand that, and they don't get the process with that. But there was segregation between the blacks and the whites. And in a lot of cases, really the blacks didn't want to fuck with anybody because they're like, man, why are we going to fuck with people that's going to be doing shit like this and they're going to be doing stuff like that? Because you can say what you want to say and it all hunky-dory and smiley over there in California, man. But when you're coming down to the South, man, it wasn't like that. I mean, it was the Alabamas, you talking about the Mississippis, you talking about, the Georgias. I mean, you talking about hotbeds of a lot of racial tension and a lot of racial situations. And in every aspect, there was blacks and there was whites. It's the same thing as you see today. It's the same thing that's going to always be a part of that. And so when we look at that, wait.
No.
Okay.
What I was going to say was this, is that, again, everybody, you take it for granted that all you got to do is learn how to ride a motorcycle, and nobody should be able to tell you how to ride your motorcycle, when to ride it.
And that's what this show's about.
That's what I'm saying. So just imagine not only somebody telling you that you can't ride your motorcycle, but everybody telling you can't ride your motorcycle, let alone how did you get it, who gave it, the whole nine. So it was just imagine riding a motorcycle and it's automatically stolen.
And they will kill you for it and take your motorcycle, not because they just out there jacking motorcycles. It's because they're mad the fact that you have a motorcycle and they don't have one. And that's really what, you hit it on the head. That's what it's about, is you're looking at people that have paved the way. I say this again, pave the way. These guys that you see sitting around these urban set, the black set, they've been in this for 40 years, man, you should go up to them and buy them a drink and have a conversation with them and salute them, because those guys were at the center of we talking hatred. And they stood their grounds. I mean, come on, man, you got to think about this. It's just like what Sel just said. Think about this. All you doing is getting on your fucking bike and riding. That's the only thing you need to do. Now you think about that. Now you think about, if you get on your bike, you got to worry about getting shot off your bike. You got to worry about being killed. You got to worry about being things. This ain't no 99 or no 1% shit. This is real shit. This ain't got nothing to do with that. And they stood their ground, and they're still standing to this day. And that's the reason why I say that there needs to be, you need to understand the history and understand the sacrifices that these guys made for you. And they're here. You're here now because they made those sacrifices. And when you go and do things, and when you go and don't respect that, well, guess what, man? You just basically said fuck you to everything that you did. Fuck you to having people shooting at you, trying to kill you. Saying fuck you to all the sacrifices and everything that you did. Seeing people killed, seeing your family members killed. And that's the shit that kind of gets me into sometimes, whatever it is. I try not to talk about it too much. But really, when it comes down to it, is that's where the urban set needs to understand and respect that. And in a lot of cases, that's not what's happening. And in a lot of cases, what kind of occurs and the things that occur is we're looking at our dominance as, well, our dominance are this, or our dominance are that, or our dominance are fucked up, or whatever it is. But guess what, man? That's your fucking dominant, man. So that's what you got. Make the best of what you got. and work.
But let me say this too. Let me interject and say this too. On behalf of some people that don't understand the role of the dominant or don't understand the role of your local dominant or your 1%er. Now, you got to understand this. In every organization and in every situation, you're gonna have fucked up individuals. Okay, you're gonna have individuals that don't care about the history. You're gonna have individuals that want shit to be the way that they wanted to be because they never had it at all that way. But what the dominants are standing on, what they're standing on, is the wars or the fights that were fought just to be able to say, "Hey, I'm a black man. I'm gonna ride my motorcycle however in the fuck I want to." You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what they're standing on. So when we intermingle with them, you have to understand that the bloodshed, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, all that shit, the people that they've lost, you don't even know nothing about it. You buy a motorcycle, you can ride freely. Ain't none of your people ever been killed for standing up to say, "This is my motorcycle. I bought it, motherfucker. I could ride it however I want to ride it." And then they're beat up and in the whole 9 yards. So I understand that part of it. And to all my OGs and to all my dominants and all my 1%ers, we got you. Okay. Trust me, I got you. But to the ones, and I know I may be kind of, on the line a little bit, but to the ones who are just, I'm gonna just say it like this, who are mad and angry, and you feel like the only way you could talk to me is with the bullshit or with the violence, brother, look here. I feel your pain. I totally understand. I totally am in agreement and salute you in the past of what you guys are standing on and what you guys are standing for. I totally saluted the whole 9 yards, and we in the fight with you now. Trust and believe that. If you stop and talk to us and teach us and show us, we can get in a fight with you because now we understand more. So when I do get on my motorcycle, and I'm gonna tell you guys what I do real quick, and I'm gonna give it back to Gun. Every time I get on my motorcycle, number one, I pray. I thank God. Hey, I thank God that I'm even able to hold a motorcycle up and to be able to control it. That's number one. Number two, when I ride with pride, knowing that the Ben Hardys and my man Toby Jean, that I've actually had a chance to meet, a living legend, Sugar Bear and all of these people, even going back to my female sister Miss Showtime and etc. All of the great people, all of the Boss Mike and Hero and all of these people, man, from all over, man. Knowing that I ride my motorcycle, I sit up proud, and I give you that mean mug look because I understood what they went through and what they had to do to ride and how they couldn't be on main highways and they had to take back roads and sneak around. And so I ride with that pride. So when you see me, it's not a cocky attitude, but it's an attitude of thank you, and I'm gonna uphold your legacy. I'm gonna uphold it, and I'm gonna ride like a strong, proud black man. So that's what it is for me. That's why I got the bars, and that's why I got the look, and that's what you see when you see me. Not that I'm saying fuck the world, but I'm just saying thank you to all of those who came before me that allowed me to be able to do what I do now, which is just come out of my garage. I'm not harassed. I don't have to sneak and roll a bike down the hill and start it up. I ain't got to do none of that shit. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I ride the way I ride.
Yeah, and I look back at this, and when you talk about the Ben Hardys and you talk about the Sugar Bears, you talk about Chosen Fews and you talk about Defiant Ones and you talk about East Bay Dragons. That's just naming a few of them. Now you got the real significance with Outkast, and you got Wheels, and you got Thunder Guard, and you got Soul Brothers. I mean, you talking significant history out there, and I'm not leaving nobody out just on purpose. I'm just trying to, I'm just throwing some names out there. But you're talking significant history. But with the Ben Hardys and with these other ones, all these people that have done so much for the motorcycle community that never got credit for what they did until recently. Like in the 80s and the 70s, I didn't know about the person that made the Harley Davidson, the one motorcycle for the one movie, the Marlboro Man. I didn't know about these dudes. I didn't know about those guys because that wasn't a part of history, because it wasn't what I was seeing. It wasn't what I was seeing when I seen the red, white, and blue bike with the big ass motherfucking, with the big ass motherfucking, exhaust systems, and understanding that, that a black man did that, and those are the history lessons that was just not passed down. But it's the things that aren't being given credit, like Jack Daniels, the person that actually addressed and started Jack Daniels. He didn't start
was a
Jack
black
Daniels,
man,
but
he
gave
created
him
the recipe. He created the recipe, yeah.
To have Jack Daniels was a black man, and it's where Gentleman Jack now comes out, and where they've given him credit for what he did. But that's something that was never known. And I'm gonna say this, and this is God honest truth. For African Americans, blacks, we are the trendsetters of this shit. We will come up with some new shit and start some new ideals that aren't the norm. And I can tell you this, when you do things like that and you start stuff and you have things that are different, all of a sudden people don't like it because it's different. It ain't the norm. But in a lot of cases, man, being different there ain't no problem with that. It's okay to be different. When it becomes a problem is when you go away from understanding the histories and the traditions of what was established, and then you move away from those traditions and those protocols and those histories, and then you try to do your own thing. And that's where that mix and that understanding has to come into effect, where these OGs, and this is what we've talked about before, is the OGs are not the ones that are talking right now. The dudes that was 99 and now all of a sudden they 1%ers after 6 months, now all of a sudden they the ones having conversations and talking. But their history ain't there and their knowledge ain't there because they don't have any history and they ain't got no knowledge because they was in the 99% club for 2 years. Now all of a sudden 6 months later, they in a 1% club. They got 2.5 years on the set and don't have any history or any knowledge. And that's where I would say to old school guys, man, I actually had a conversation. I said, man, look, we got to get y'all off the bench, man. We got to get you, hey, in case of some knowledge, break glass, motherfucker. I said, I'm breaking glass, man. I said, we need to get the OGs to step up and start giving some of their, historical information and things that they seen, because you can't tell me about, somebody's talking about, man, back in the day. And I'm like, well, what's the back in the day for you? Oh, well, back in the day was 2008. Motherfucker, that ain't back in the day. Back in the day for me is 1986. So I might say, well, back in my day in 1986, and the motherfucker might look at me like, motherfucker, that ain't back in the day. Back in the day is 1960s when we was motherfucking riding. So you have generational people that come about, but the information and knowledge is not being passed down. And I can say this without a doubt. I really feel like that information on the urban side, on the black side, that information needs to be passed down so that history continues to be passed down. Because one of the things that my grandmother taught me a long time ago, and she used to tell me about my great grandmother who was a slave, was that information and that knowledge has to continue to be passed down so we understand not to make the same mistakes that was made back in those days. And when just listening to her, man, she was always a wealth of knowledge because she always gave me a perspective of make sure that you don't make the same mistakes over and over and over. And that's one of the processes that I've tried to live my life with, is making sure that I don't make the same mistakes over and over. But the only way that I can stop from making the same mistakes over and over is to make sure that I know my history so that I will not make those same mistakes. And that's really where I look at the urban set. And where we're lacking right now is that history just needs to start being told. First, it needs to start being told. The second thing that needs to happen is people that are providing that history or giving that history, the people that should be receiving that history, shut the fuck up for 2 seconds and listen to what the fuck the guy has to say, because 9 times out of 10, he trying to have a communication or trying to tell you about something. You're like, nah, ain't how we doing it. We ain't doing it like that now. We not doing shit like that now. One of the things about this MC shit, MC protocol and tradition, you can try to do things wrong. And you will always go back to the way that things was done back in the day, because things was done back in the day to create, my shit is off, man. It's killing me. Things were done back in the day to create respect, camaraderie amongst the races and amongst each other. That's where saying, oh, we do shit different now. That's where we got to get back, because ultimately when you make all those mistakes and you fuck up, you go back to doing the same shit that the OGs was trying to fucking tell you a long time ago, but you didn't want to fucking listen. And that's where we have to get back to in terms of gaining that knowledge and getting that information so the OGs can actually push that shit out there.
And let me say this. The black bike set, and I'm, you know, y'all, we keep it 100 right here on MC101. I keep it 100. Guns keep it 100. The black bike set was created because the whites, when they started their bike set, they didn't want any black. They only wanted their race. Now that's not a racist thing. They had their white pride, the whole 9 yards, and that's what it was for them. So we were able to start our set, and we made it all black. That's why you got black clubs, white clubs, Mexican clubs, and so forth.
My thing of it. Let me touch on that real quick, but that was the climate of the era, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is that was the climate of the era, was the segregation, and everybody segregated themselves. It wasn't specifically a racist thing. It was a segregation thing where people segregated. Blacks didn't want to be around whites neither because they had the effects and they understood how they was being abused and treated. So why the fuck you want to have a motherfucker that abusing you and fucking you over? Why do you want to be around him? You don't. You're going to segregate from him. You're going to move away from him.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So to add to what he's saying, I was going to say it's not a racist thing to have black pride or white pride. It's a racist thing when you enforce that, or when you are mad at me, or you're upset with me and want to fight me because I don't have the same pride you have or the same beliefs you have. But I say that to say this is that they started what they started, we started what we started, and it is what it is. It's grown into what it is. One thing I want y'all to know is this: is that the history has been there, that we've always, us as blacks in the black set, had to fight and fight and fight to be here, to exist. Yeah. Not to really have a piece of or claim anything. We're talking about just to exist. So when you spoke on the Captain America bike, if you guys don't know, Ben Harding was a black man that they went to, Marlon Brando and them went to create the bikes, to build the bikes for the movie. But because he was black, he couldn't even go on the set. They would have to bring the bikes to his shop. He would work on them, fix them, and repair them, and then they would take them back to the set and ride the bikes, and they would bring them back and forth. And he never got the credit for it until now. Yeah. And you spoke on Bessie Stringfield. Bessie Stringfield was a black woman who actually rode from state to state, taking medical supplies and other things to different people across the world. But she had to do it dressed as a black man, because it was damn sure unheard of for a black woman to be on a motorcycle. It was truly dangerous for a black woman. But absolutely, when I speak on the history of the black MC, this is what I want to speak on. We've always been different. We've always been trendsetters. We've always been bold. We've always been bigger. We've always done things on a different level. We have set trends that even now today, Harley Davidson is copying. Absolutely. Knocking some of our trends. Absolutely. From the custom big wheel to the paint jobs to everything. Yeah, to the handlebar. They're knocking our trends, and because we as blacks have just freely done these things and freely, we didn't get into the copywriting and the trademarking and all of that, because it's just what it was. We're very quick to help, and we're very quick to lend our services, our ideas, the whole 9 yards, and that's just who we are. The biggest thing, what I want you guys to get from this show tonight, and we're going to go to commercial right after this, what I want you guys to get from this show tonight is that it don't matter what side of the set you on right now, because we need to come together as one for the entire set in order for it to survive. And if we are the generation to break the color line barrier, then so be it. If we are the generation to understand the color line barrier, then so be it. But it's not a wrong or a right, or you're a racist or I'm a racist, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's simply, hey, you have the right to be with your people that you understand, that you have this, the same get down with, and I have the right to be with my people that I understand and I have the same get down with. And to the OGs who fought the fights and had the wars and had to stand their ground against other races, other factions, against the police, the government, and everybody else. Everybody else. And on the whole, to all of my OGs, all of you guys, this stuff that Guns is telling you tonight and what I'm telling you, you should already have this before you even have a patch on your back. If you don't know who these people are and you got a whole motorcycle patch on your back, there's shame on you and shame on your motorcycle club, because these are the things that should be taught. Because understand what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to step on some toes right now. If your club don't make you understand where you come from in order for you to be and to go where you need to go, then what the fuck are you doing? You in the world and in the way. If I don't know where I come from in this motorcycle community, in this motorcycle world, then how do I even know where to go or where the club is going? I have no clue. And that is a problem, man. It really is. And again, I hope you guys understand and take from this what Guns is telling you tonight and what I'm telling you tonight. We are all important. We all play a role in this, and we all have started. All of this shit has started from somewhere before us. And if you do not stop and take the time to honor that and to understand that and to give respect where respect is due and to give acknowledgement and give salute to where salutes are due, then you're lost in the sauce and you are the reason why the set is fucked up the way it is now. Absolutely. We're going to pay some commercials, man, and we're going to be right back, y'all. Hold on.
Get ready for the United Bikers Jamboree, June 24th through the 28th, 2020 in Tampa, Florida at the Florida State Fairgrounds, 4800 US 301, Tampa, Florida 33610. Performing live, Tucker, Pokey Bear,
to be with my side,
Sir Charles Jones, Shirley Brown,
woman to woman, if you've ever been in love.
RV parking and tent rental available. For more info, go to www.unitedbikers.com. For hotel reservations, call 832-848-1068 or email ubj@mtgcreative.net. Daily admission $30. Go to eventbrite.com or the Fairgrounds box office. It's the Tampa United Bikers Jamboree, June 26th through the 28th.
Say, man, the Tampa Jamboree, go to unitedbikers.com, bikerswithaz.com. Listen, don't wait to book your room. The worst that can happen is that you book your room and for whatever reason, this bullshit continues and it don't happen. But if you wait to book your room and it's a go and you don't get to go, you're going to be asked out. This will be one of the biggest events that the bike set has ever been a part of. And again, if you watch any of my videos, go back to my YouTube channel and stay tuned because I will be interviewing the commissioner of Tampa who is going to confirm to you that not only do we want you here, we're preparing for you to be here. We're glad you're coming, and you're not gonna have no issues here. You're gonna be able to come and be on some grown folks motorcycle shit and have a good time, man. So the Tampa Jamboree, June 24th through the 28th, going down in Tampa, Florida. UnitedBikersWithAZ.com is the website. Your hotel information, RVs are available, the whole 9 yards, man. FHO will definitely be in the building, and it's something to be a part of, man.
Montana Cigar Company sells premium cigars and accessories. Located in Union City, Georgia at 4641 Flat Shoals Road, Suite C, Union City, Georgia 30291. Montana Cigar Company offers a smooth, laid-back, serene, mature adult environment for cigar aficionados. Discounts for all the first responders, military, teachers, and nurses. Come enjoy your favorite games and boxing matches on our big screen TVs. We also have a poker table where you can come and try your luck. It's the Queens of the South Motorcycle Club, and they want you to know it's 2020, and they are taking over Central Florida the weekend of April 17th through the 19th. All chapters will be present from Charlotte and Fayetteville, North Carolina, to Houston and Dallas, Texas, along with Birmingham and Huntsville, Alabama, and last but never least, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They bound coast to coast and have no boundaries as the rain never stops. Come out and celebrate starting Friday night, meet and greet, and Saturday, grill and chill block party from 4 p.m. until with your favorite queen. For our hotels and more info, contact Queen Handful at 407-314-9360. Queen Takeoff at 619-886-9711 or Queen Double Scoop at 404-637-9900. Gaddafi Entertainment Group presents Yo Roger. It's time for Hogs Gone Wild, hosted by your boy Big Sex. FHO's HNIC with special guest Mr. Tom McCarthy. at Keystone Raceway, 538 Stone Jug Road, New Alexandria, PA, 15670. This all goes down May 8th through 10th. We're racing. Hot Street, Pro Street, ET Street, Street Class, Non-Bagger, plus Big Wheel Bagger Shootout. Also, Saturday night, Riders Meet and Greet at Club VIP, Gaddafi ENT, plus Hogs Gone Wild, and FHO, all in the same place at the same time. It's definitely gonna be some fast going down. Don't miss it.
Say, man, that's Gaddafi ENT, my man Roger from Hogs Gone Wild. Stay tuned for an interview with them. Listen, man, this year they're kicking the race game up with the baggers, and if you've never seen a bagger go down the track, you've never seen a bagger run, you're missing one of the greatest parts about this motorcycle set, one of the greatest parts about having a Harley Davidson. Again, May 8th through the 10th at it's going down Hot Street, Pro Street, ET Street, Street Class, Non-Bagger, and they even got a Big Wheel Bagger Shootout, all going down at Keystone Raceway. I will be in the building. I'm hosting. It's going down. Don't miss it, man. Again, people are putting these events on for your entertainment and for you. Man, show up and show out, man. Let's get it, man.
Oh, yeah.
Dallas, Texas, and all surrounding cities, introducing to you the Fry King. Located at 1013 West Pleasant Run, Lancaster, Texas, 75146. Specializing in specialty fries and loaded potatoes. Fry King. Open from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday. And for all you late night snackers, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. Friday and Saturday. Mention FHO Podcast Radio and get 10% off your entire meal. Fry King. Contact info 323-FRY-KING. That's 323-379-5464. Check out their website where you can see the full menu at FryKingTX.com. Also on Facebook as the Fry King. Also available for private catering and all your special event needs. The Fry King, Dallas, Texas. You know summer is coming. Time to start trimming down. Go. The IASO Detox Tea is all you need to start on your way to that karate body and a healthy you. The IASO Detox Tea comes in a kit that does it all. From boosting energy to all your vitamins. With a smooth and gentle detox. Easy and simple to use. Drink one bottle of tea in the morning along with the NRG Energy Tablet and iShot Nutra Burst for all of your essential vitamins for just 5 days a week. You don't have to change your eating habits or get your ass to the gym. IASO Detox Tea. Grab yours today at FastHarleysOnly.com. At FastHarleysOnly.com.
Say, man, you can laugh all you want to, but I'm working on that karate body, man. The ISO Tea.
I hear you.
Listen, man. It's easy. You drink your tea in the morning, you take your energy pill, and you drink your liquid vitamin, and you're done, man. I'm listening, man. Look at me. You laughing. Guns laughing. I want y'all to leave. Y'all see this? Look, man. Look here, man. Shit. Keep on. I'm going to fuck around. I told you. Listen, if you want to cheat on your girl, lose some stomach, you get some more dick, man. That way you get your up. Find you some new pussy. But the ISO Tea, man, hit me up. Go to the website if you need it. FastHarleysOnly.com. We got a drop down on there. You'll see the ISO Tea. Drop it down, order, or call me directly at 424-242-2355, and you can order your kit. I'll tell you what kit you need to order. And again, it's easy and simple. Detox, losing weight, the whole 9 yards. One more and we done, man.
Select Luxury Cars, proud sponsor of the FHO Podcast Live Show. The most diverse luxury vehicle selection in the greater Atlanta area. The highest quality customer service and unmatched nationwide pricing. Contact Mike Goodall at 678-855-2292 to schedule your appointment today. Select Luxury Cars, trusted family dealer since 1994.
Say, man, Mike gonna kill me. He had two specials the other day. He had a BMW truck. I think he was asking like $9,000, and then he had a Lexus ES 400, I believe, whatever it was, 450. He was only asking like 3,500 for. Get with him. I'm pretty sure they might be going to the auction, but these are cars that he took in and he holds them before they dump them. And he does not advertise a car that is not the shit. I promise you. So if you're interested in buying a car, I know it's tax time. Y'all getting your tax money. Hit up my man Mike Goodall. I promise you, whatever you're looking for, whatever you need from low end to high end, he'll try his best to make it happen for you. And he's an honest car salesman. How often do you see that? An honest car salesman. He would tell you, yeah, no, hell no, don't buy it or do whatever. So hit up my man Mike Goodall, Select Luxury Cars, 678-855-2292. All right, we back, man, with my man Guns, man, and we're talking about paying homage, man. A lot of you cats done came on the bike set and you've exploited it. You've enjoyed the fruits of the labor and the hard work that people before you put in. And when you see your OGs, you won't even stop and shake their hand and just say thank you. You feel what I'm saying? You won't even stop and say, OG, teach me something. Tell me a story. And these things are important. You have to have a history in order to have a future, period. They go hand in hand. And if you want to get on this bike set and you want a motorcycle on the level that you need the motorcycle on, then you have to understand that, man. And you have to come into understanding and fruition of that because it is so, so important. That you should be able to do this. I was trying to get my girl on the phone, Miss Showtime. She actually has a seminar that's going down. And matter of fact, let me read it right here. She has a seminar that's going down that will be some of the greats will be there to talk about it. Toby Jean is one of the speakers that'll be there. And it's actually Saturday, June 6th, 3 p.m. It's in Los Angeles, California. Come hear the stories directly from the OGs, originators of the MC set. She also has the college scholarship, but it'll be at the Phoenix Hall in LA and the after parties at the Rare Breed Clubhouse. But the list of OGs that will be speaking at this event, the same history that me and Guns is giving you, you'll get to hear it from the OGs who actually were there, who actually been in some of these fights that we're talking about. We're talking about clubs like the LADOs, Chosen Few, Magnificent Seven, East Bay Dragons, the Lost Gypsy Nations all the way from Canada, Black Sabbath MC, Just Us MC, Royal Aces, Brothers of the Sun, Soul Brothers, City Slickers, Adventurers, LA Deuces, of course, Rare Breed, Precision Riders MC, Choppers, Divided Times, and Slausenberg. So these are different clubs and different OGs, man, that will give you the history of how all of this shit started and how it will make you appreciate and understand what it is that you're doing today. Where the Sideways come from. Sideways didn't come from Snowman or Big Manny, and they've been doing that shit forever, stunting on motorcycles and dressing fly. Even clubs used to dress alike back then. So there's nothing that you're doing that the OGs hadn't already done for the most part. And we're not the first ones to get cross country. Hell, the Roundup is going on what, 50-something years? They've been going to the Roundup all over the world for 50-something years. So these are the things you need to know about. Go ahead, Guns.
I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that, like historically, I mean, we just keep it 100, man. Like people want to argue, oh, we started this and we started that and we started this and we the first this and we the first that. But factually, if you really look at some of the places and some of the clubs, man, there was clubs that was really starting out. I mean, 40s and 50s. I've heard some stories. They weren't big though, so they didn't get to the level of what you see some of the bigger clubs is. So they didn't get the recognition, or they may have been around for 10 years and then turned around and fell apart. But there's so much history that's out there that's not being told, and there's so much knowledge out there that's not being put down. My knowledge base goes from 80s. I mean, I started in the 70s or whatever it is, but I was a little young kid. I had everything that was going on. But me actually as a biker started in 86, 87 timeframe when I started riding. So my knowledge base is based on that time frame. And in those times, it was hard to be just a biker. Not talking about being a black biker. We just talking about being a biker with the way that law enforcement fucked with you, the way that people hated you, the way that people looked at you and down. I mean, they basically turned their nose up at you, wouldn't give you rooms because you was a biker. I mean, the sacrifices that a lot of these guys made just are not being processed and not being said. And then coming into the future, looking, back at the past, a lot of the OGs will say, we don't know if we can actually feel comfortable enough now to be able to say we're good with what happened or we're good with that. And you know, like I was having a conversation with one, he says, "Look, man, I can't fuck with them dudes like that, man, because I was back in those days and I seen them do what they did to my people, and I just can't do that." And I told him, I said, "I feel you, and I understand what you're trying to say." I said, "But this is 2020. The biggest thing that we need to address now is not what we was addressing back in the 60s and 70s when it was about race. Now we should be addressing keeping law enforcement away from us and out of our, I mean, basically out of our lives." And I said, and that's where we have to come together and have a good understanding amongst each other, because it can't be separation anymore, because law enforcement is going after all of us. And if we don't stand together, then we're going to fail and we're going to fall. So we got to come to some other process or some other to say, hey, we ain't going to forget it. We ain't going to forgive you. I mean, we'll forgive you, but we ain't going to forget it. And you know, he was just like, "Oh, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. It's just hard when we've bore the blunt of all of the shit that we went through." And he goes, "And I'm gonna tell you this, good." He said, "I'm gonna tell you this, man." And he said it just when he said it, man. I just sat and I was just like, "Wow, that's some deep shit." He says, "We take all that shit. We went through all this stuff, man. We went through all of the things that we went through, from motherfuckers trying to kill us. Motherfuckers trying to kill us just for the fact we got a bike. Motherfuckers trying to kill us for the fact that we doing something for ourselves. They just trying to kill us because we black." He goes, and when I look at it, and now all of a sudden I'm looking at these young motherfuckers and they don't give a fuck about us. He says, "Man, fuck them." And I was just like, I said, but that's when I told him, I said, "Look, man, here's where it's at though. I gotta have you as that voice. I gotta have you as, this is what we went through. This is the things that we went through," because you don't get that information and that knowledge and that understanding until you really get a chance to see how people are treated. And nowadays, the only way we really get a chance to see how things are really being treated is when law enforcement comes up and then profiles do whatever it is. That's just a smidgen of the shit that they was going through. So being able to pay homage to them and be able to have that understanding. But the OGs, man, I got to have y'all step out the shadows, man, and start educating some of these dudes so the history and the knowledge can come about so people understand it. Look, man, I said it, man, trendsetters. When it comes down to doing shit that ain't the norm or ain't fucking, good or bad, however you want to fucking say it, trendsetters, man, and that's just how it is. Always will be. There always will be the anomaly out there that's not gonna do shit the way that you want them to fucking do it. They're gonna do shit different. But in that comes the beauty. In that comes the Captain America fight. In that comes all of these different elements that are being, posterized throughout the world as being, in corporate white America, but they're not. Those roots and those grounds started in LA. Those roots and those grounds started in Oakland. Those roots and those grounds started in the grimy ghettos of Chicago and Detroit.
Yeah.
And that's where your history is.
And I'm going to say this on behalf of all my OGs, man, because I'm going to defend them. I can understand the frustration of trying to talk to some of these little young cats, man, these little young Thundercats. They are hard-headed as a motherfucker. They born with all the knowledge. They bought a motorcycle knowing everything about the set. I got you, and I gun said, we need you. And I understand why sometimes you say, fuck it, just let them be. Because understand this, even now, even with the information that Guns is giving you, even with what I'm giving you, you will question that, well, who they think they is. Listen, if you quit being worried about the messenger being a better messenger than you and just listen to the message, then what difference do it make who it came from, as long as you can verify it and validate it and you can use it to be a better person, to be a better man, to be a better woman? What difference do it make? So so on behalf of all my OGs, trust me, I hear you. These young motherfuckers is a handful to deal with. They ain't listening to nobody. They know everything. They'll rather shoot you than fight you. All of the bullshit. Trust me. Okay, yeah. and I got you. And this is my plea.
Or they tell you ain't black enough to motherfucking be the messenger.
And to all my youngsters, man, I'm asking you to take the time to pay homage to the people that made it easier. Again, hear what I'm going to say. To the people that made it easier for you to be a biker or for you to be whoever you think you are in this MC community. Take the time and pay homage. Let's for 2020, let's do this. For 2020, when we see an OG, let's just walk up and say, hey, thank you, OG. and shake his hand. You know, and let's just walk up and say, OG, thank you, and shake his hand. If you want to introduce yourself, give him your name, then let's give him a name, get their name, and Lord forbid you buy him a drink or bomb, whatever it is. Let's just try that for 2020, man. Let's just start the program. We're going to call it the OG Thank You Program, whatever y'all want to call it. Just walk up to our OGs and just say, thank you, OG. And again, even in some of the more popular clubs, like in Rare Breed, you got people like Big Maul, Big Luck. You got people that's been in this club 30 years. You got Big Punchy been in it 16 years as the vice president. Man, these cats will give it to you, brother, if they know you serious and they're not wasting their time. And when you see him, but Sell, like I had somebody tell me, man, Sell, that dude Baby Slip is crazy, man. You can't even talk to him. Yes, you can. But you got to he got to know that you serious and you want to talk, because he don't talk to anybody. You can't come with the bullshit. Even with Big Maul, Lucky, all of them cats, man. They got Mr. Nate. Let's talk about Mr. Nate. One of the original founders of Rare Breed. Period. So you got all this game and you got all this knowledge. And you got people here to say thank you to. I know y'all know me, Flacco, Snowman, and that's fine. Thank you. I take all of that. But it's people that I look up to. It's people that's before me. Men and women, man, that have made this thing possible for you to just go outside of your garage, crank your motorcycle up, put your helmet on, and ride down the street. These are the people that made it that way. These are the people that fought for it to be that way. Because if they had gave up, it wouldn't be no bike set. And again, it ain't maybe the coolest thing to do or the most popular thing to do is hang with the OGs. But I'm gonna tell you this: it's the wisest thing you can do. Hands down, it's the wisest thing you can do. Yeah, and I'm with it.
The biggest thing I want to say to everybody, man, is if you don't know your history, man, you're destined to fail in the future, because you got to be able to understand the history that you came from or where you came from. And I mean, this summer, I'm actually in August, man, I'm going across to California. I'm going to ride across and I'm just going to break bread with everybody along the way and try to catch up with everybody. But ultimately, I want to get out to the East Bay Dragons and get to the clubhouse and spend some time, because that is my foundation of what I seen. Chosen Few is my foundation of what I seen. Soul Brothers in East Palo Alto in that area was the foundation of what I seen. And guys from Defiant Ones, they would come up and they would do the annuals, and I would see them on the set. And like, people don't get it, man. I lived on 81st Street, man, the East Bay Clubhouse on 60, I think it's on 65th. And we talking blocks, man. It was so close. And, even the youth center that I went to, East Oakland Youth Development Center, it was really a secondary home for most of the kids and most of the little, like the kids of the East Bay Dragons, because it was right down the road from it. So we grew up, man, around that element in that set, man, and just being able to go to the parks and listen to them. And I was just that little bug on the wall, you know what I'm saying? I was that fly on the side of the motherfucking tree, just listening and soaking it up. And they would just be like, man, hey, we talk, grown folks talk, man. I'm like, yeah, I understand. I walk away. They'd be like, man, get your little ass out of here, man. Grown folks talk. I'd be like, I walk away, and then I'll sneak back over there. That's it. And that's just how it was. And that was the reason why I was able to gain as much knowledge I was able to get just in terms of the motorcycle set. But that's not what's being put out there, and that's not the information that's being out there, because, man, these dudes have sacrificed so much for us to be doing what we're doing right now. And then we got shit like Cleveland and Ohio, I mean, I don't understand how you get to that element when you fighting against and with the same people that you should be breaking bread with and having brotherhood with. And the common concept or the common knowledge of it is basically, look, man, we going through the same struggles, man. We going through the same shit, no matter what you is. And my mama told me a long time ago, she goes, it don't matter what you is. If you black, if you got any black in you, you black in society's life, in society's world. They're going to view you as that. So make sure that you understand that process, because it's just a different level of being a black man than being a white man. That's just simple as that. And for me, like she told me this when I was like 13 years old or 14 years old. And she told me that as, me, I didn't have no knowledge I was a black man, but she was telling me that as a black mother, because that's the only thing she knew. So that's how I was taught. I was raised as a black man, even though I was, at the time, I thought I was white and Mexican, and that's what my adoption paperwork said. But it is what it is with that, man. But you know, that's why when people say, well, I don't know how you're going to talk about this and how you're going to talk about that. Well, I can talk about that because I was raised in there. I can talk about that because my great grandmother was a slave. I can talk about that because that's the only history that I know. You know, I don't know any other history because that's how I was raised. My grandmother on my mother's side had 16 kids, you know, all my cousins. So I didn't know any different. So what I saw on the black side and what I saw on the African American side or black side or whatever it is, that's the way I was raised and that's how I was. And I took time to be able to gain some information, to get some information. And that's what I tell you guys, man. You guys got to stop just thinking that you know every fucking thing and get back out there and get some information, because there's some great books out there right now that you can get into and read if you like reading, that you can get some perspective and some history, but there's nothing better than being able to actually get out there face to face with somebody and have a conversation.
I don't know if y'all can hear that. But I'm gonna say this. You got your boy, like you got people like Heavy, OG Heavy from Soul Brothers, and you got there's so many people, man. I don't want, like I said, you got the chosen few, Boss Mike, you got Hero. It's so many people that are still living. I don't want to just say those names because there's so many, and I don't want to leave nobody out. But I promise you, if you took the time to sit down and just say thank you and buy the OG a beer, it would make you a different person out here on this bike set, you know. And some of you probably don't give a fuck. Some of you probably don't care, and some of you guys probably don't really have it, you know, right now. But it is what it is, man. And my biggest thing is that, you know, it's there. It is really there. So again, pay homage, understand, respect it, and it is what it is. So.
Yeah,
that's what
somebody just put on there, in order to require or to get history, requires you to break state lines. And I mean, and that's true. I mean, and that's another element. You guys know on the page, I'm always addressing this. And in a lot of cases, I've never really got into the internet based of, you know, like trying to gain, you know, put knowledge, and here we are. But what it comes down to is I've always been a person that said, you got to get out, break lines. You got to get out, get into different areas and learn the different areas, because each area has its own section of history. I can guarantee you, man, you go to Georgia, man, it's like completely different. You go to Tennessee, it's different. You go to Texas, of course it's going to be different. You go to Oklahoma, it's a whole nother level, you know, and then all of a sudden you get to California and things are just a little bit different, you know. Then all of a sudden you get over to Chicago and they got their own twist. And then you in Detroit, and shit, you running, you know. So when you're looking at these areas and you're looking at these the places where these groups came up in, you know, Gary, Indiana, Chicago, Detroit, man, Illinois, you know, over in New York, New Jersey. I mean, these are areas. You know, it's always been a part of urban sets, urban culture. It's always been a part of the black biker. And these are areas that, man, if you get into them, man, you just learn so much history about where this came from. And you get so much history about, as a black biker, you get so much history about where you came from. And gaining that knowledge is like Sel just said, Big Sel said, man, it's like enlightening. And then all of a sudden you just kind of like, shit, man, there's so much shit that I don't know. Even me to this day, there's so much shit that I don't know. But in a lot of cases, I mean, Whisper's actually addressing this, and I'll say it like this: is in a lot of cases, the biggest element that we that's kind of occurring and it's not happening is you got too many motherfuckers out there trying to run shit or trying to be the fucking boss or trying to get the status. They want to be the fucking man so fast and so quick. They don't understand that it takes time in this lifestyle for you to gain the knowledge and gain the information and gain the actual demeanor to be able to control a motorcycle set, especially when you're starting to step up into the next levels. When you get into that 1% outlaw world, there's things that you do and there's things that you could do or that you think, oh yeah, this is how we're going to do business. And it may destroy exactly what these guys have built over the last 50 something years. I mean, how can you as a motorcyclist, as a black man, destroy something that they sacrificed so many years to be able to provide for you? The only thing you should really be worrying about is getting on your fucking bike and riding, because they did the fucking hard work. They They did the police beating them with billy clubs. They did people pulling them off their bikes. They did the, you going into an area and they calling you every name. They did going down to Atlantic Bike Week and they got fucking strings and shit like that into the fucking ocean so you don't come on their side. So you don't feel. Now, how, if you can think about that, just think about this for a second. They had buoys and strings and wire that they put into the ocean so that you could not come on their side and you had to stay on your side. Wow. Now you think about an element of that and you out here doing reckless, dumbass fucking bullshit. I mean, come on, that's just that you taking the history and you taking what happened as Black Americans, as Black bikers, you taking that and you saying, fuck you. And that's the reason why OGs don't want to fuck with you no more. And they don't want to talk to you because you fucking ignorant. And what you should do and what you should be doing is you should be paying homage to these guys and going in and saying, show me how I can make my set better. Show me how I can make the urban set better. Show me how I can do the things to make this thing be bigger and stronger and unity. And that's the information that you need to get. That's not the shit. That's the shit you need. You don't need the rest of that dumbass shit. Like, let's go patch chase this motherfucker, or this motherfucker ain't paying this, or this motherfucker ain't doing this, so we gonna go fuck with him. That's not what it's about, man. You're destroying the history of what we should be doing out here, and you're rejecting the knowledge that them guys are trying to put out there, man. And that in itself is destruction of what we're trying to do out here as African Americans, as Black men on this motorcycle set.
Hey, real quick, everybody was asking about an event that Miss Showtime is putting on. I was actually able to get her. Turn your echo. I think you're echoing, Miss Showtime. Turn your volume down. Yeah. Anyway, this is the lady Miss Showtime. Yes, this is the lady Miss Showtime that's putting on the event, the history event, and we've been talking about tonight. We've been talking about the history of the bike set, and we was telling them about your the program that you're putting on in June, and people were asking me about it. So I thought, what better it is to see if I can get you and bring you on and give a brief history of your event and what it's all about.
Yes. I'm 75, and I'm older than a lot of the OGs that are still here, and my generation, we're dying like every week. And the history of the motorcycle set is going to die with us if we don't get it preserved. Because there's going to come a time, years and years and years from now, when you guys will be OGs. And the people up under you will look up to you because you guys actually knew us. Because they're going to talk about the OGs like people talk about heroes in history books. Believe that. And that was the main reason why I'm trying to put this event on. And Toby Jean, I have a special chair for him. It's a king's chair. It's made like a actual king, and he will be sitting on the stage. And it's going to be a wonderful event if it doesn't get canceled because of the corona. So if something happens and I can't give it in June, it will go on, but at a different date. But the history needs to be told. It's so much education. One thing about riding back then than now, when you rode back then, even if you were a female, you learned about the mechanism, the mechanic part of a motorcycle, because your bikes were always breaking down and you had to have a two bag on your bike. Yeah. I had a two bag on my bike, and bikes always broke down. A lot of younger people that say, well, you ain't rode across United States, and I done did the four corners, and they compare themselves to
I caught her off guard, y'all, so just work with me.
Bessie Stringfield. Okay, yeah. My brain is 75 years old. They compare themselves to Bessie Stringfield, and I understand that, and I salute everybody that rides bike across the United States. But one thing they don't understand, the bike Bessie Stringfield was riding most of you guys couldn't even ride it to the corner.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of upsets me. Don't compare yourself to Bessie Stringfield.
Yeah,
you know, honest, bikes was hard to ride. When you rode a bike back then, that was a big accomplishment. But believe me. So just say you took her route, but don't compare yourself to Bessie Stringfield. And I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but it's a lot of history there. Things were so hard, and I'm proud to say that all of the OGs that are still alive, the originators and everything, they're willing to come from all over to tell their stories. And one thing about it, when you guys are saying that the young people don't want to know, you'd be surprised, because the last time I gave this, I had 300 chairs. It was in the Choppers clubhouse, which was a great big warehouse, and you could hear a pin drop. And these young people, they do want to know the history. They do want to know the history. I get calls all the time. Miss Showtime, can you tell me any history about this, history about that? And so it's a wonderful function, and I pray that it goes on. But like I said, we have a bigger problem right now, Corona. So if it doesn't happen June the 6th, I'm gonna, I'm gonna still have it. This is why I'm here. This is something that I have to do for the bike set. And thanks for having me on your show, Big Sal.
You already know, I love you, Mama. You already know that. And people talking about she's not 75 years old. She is 75 years old.
75. Wow. I look like that at 75.
And listen,
75.
She will outride most of you guys, right? She rides fast, aggressive, and she rides hard, man. I'm telling you. A beautiful woman. When you see her, there's nowhere in the world you're going to see all this beauty, get on that motorcycle and make an ass out of you. But she going to do it. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out there, man. People are asking about it. And every chance I get to bring you on, Miss Showtime, I will, to talk about the event. So, and that's tonight, Two Guns chose to talk about the history and how we need to give thanks and pay homage and start just shaking these OGs' hands, man. When we see them, just telling them thank you.
Yes. You guys look at the OGs like they're all broke down and stuff, but you just don't know, and I had the privilege to ride with them. Chosen few. The only reason why I'm not a few is because I don't have a penis. I used to ride with the chosen few. And that's real. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
That's real.
Well, again, I love you and I appreciate you for being on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Enjoy your day.
Okay. You also. Thank you.
Bye. Take care now.
That was Miss Showtime, ladies and gentlemen, a true legend as far as females. Like I said, rides with she's awesome. That's all I can tell you. And again, that's history. She's 75 years old, been riding over 50 years with Chosen Few and all the other clubs. She's with Magnificent Seven. And just again, you need to know that. If you on this black bike set and you riding a motorcycle, you need to know that. You need to know who she is, and you need to hear some of her stories.
Yeah. And that's what we talked about today, and that's really what we addressed today is there's just not, the knowledge is not being presented and not being put out there that needs to be put out there. And these people need to be, the OGs need to be the ones that's out here communicating and putting this information out, because a lot of this is getting lost. And she hit it 100%. Is a lot of these OGs, man, they coming up in that age, and they at a place where there's nothing worse than losing that knowledge and not being able to push that down. I mean, just think about this, man. Everybody out there had a grandmother that cooked. She always had a plate or always had a skillet of food ready for anybody to come by church and stuff like that. My grandmother made some of the best cornbread that you could ever eat. And when she passed away, her recipe for cornbread went with her. And nobody, I can say this without a doubt, nobody that I've ever met can duplicate the cornbread that she made. It was just phenomenal. People would come by and buy them for $5 to $10 a skillet. And that's how good her cornbread was. But the information and knowledge never got pushed down and never got presented. So her recipe died with her. And we can't allow, I use that as an analogy, we can't allow that information and that knowledge to die with these OGs. We got to get that information into the right hands and get that information disseminated to the masses so that we know the history of Black bikers in this world, because the what we've presented and what we've put into this world is so significant, but it's so marginalized by everything else that's being put out there. And it's just really being marginalized, and it's being pushed away from the real information, the real knowledge that that in all essence, in a lot of cases, everything you see within the biker community right now that Harley Davidson emulates comes from the urban set. How simple as that.
All right, well, there it is there, man. Again, major history lesson tonight. Two Guns, as always, I want to tell you, thank you. I love you, brother. These conversations help me to learn and to grow, and to have somebody of your caliber to associate yourself with FHO, with me, and with what I'm doing with the podcast is a big accomplishment for me. And it's an honor and a privilege to even have you here to share this information and to even validate some of the things that I say as far as how this thing is to be in some of my beliefs, man. And coming from both sides. If you guys don't know if this is your first time listening, he comes from both sides, being on a white dominant side and being on the Black dominant side. So he has had probably one of the few that's ever done that, and has had the pleasure to see it and to give it on all angles and all aspects, man. So it's definitely an honor, my brother, and I appreciate you and I thank you. As we prepare for next week and we prepare for what's about to come that's going on in the world, I'm asking everybody to be safe, to pay attention, to be aware. Don't be doing nothing foolish and don't be doing nothing extra. Just kind of take this time, man, to sit at home and chill and spend time with the family if you can. If you're off work, be productive, get up and clean the house and do some stuff that you haven't done and need to do. And I'm just saying, and maximize your time, man, because and keep your eyes open, because they're putting it right in front of your eyes, man. Your eyes and your ears. Keep it all open, man, because it's going down. I promise you. Any last words, Guns?
Yeah, my wife just said, if you don't know what you need to do, she got the honeydew list for you. So make sure you ask for what the honeydew list is.
Ask for the honeydew list, huh?
Yeah, ask for the honeydew list.
Yeah, well, that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Again, another beautiful night. Don't forget, man, to support the channel. I can't keep doing this program that you see me using and everything. All this stuff costs, man. And I do it, and Guns will tell you, I don't even sleep trying to perfect this stuff, man. I'm up all
like a crackhead, man, running around.
Man, trying to, hey, man. So I thank you guys for tuning in, and I thank you guys for those that do support me. You can support me via Cash App, $FHOHNIC, or support the channel via PayPal, fasthardersonly@gmail.com. Don't forget, we got a lot of things coming up. A lot of things been canceled. Arizona, they canceled it. And Kings of the South, Houston was canceled so far. So we're just gonna play it by ear, man. But I'm gonna get out. I don't care about the curfew. Give me the times I can't ride. I'm gonna ride my ass off in the time zones. But I'm gonna do some riding if possible, man. I'm not gonna let this thing totally derail me.
They just gonna be mad at me.
Yeah, so it's not gonna totally derail me. But be safe, everybody. Wash your hands, wash your ass. You know what I'm saying? Don't be sneezing on nobody. And if you still see somebody, they better be doing the safety sneeze, all in their, whatever. But other than that, man, live your life. And as always, man, FHO, we appreciate you. We love you. And don't forget, man, it's time to ride. Enjoy the riding season, baby. Don't forget Tampa's going down, baby. FHO. Guns, I appreciate you.
All right, man.
That's right. FHO. Yeah. Let's roll. Huh? FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio. Sell on your radio, best podcast show since the Misfits couldn't carry on. But I'ma carry on and get the party cracking. The homegirl 7 carats, no protect passing. Yeah, she on the rob. If you want action, 800 plus, it's a known fashion. Keep her back up, playing custom wheels cracking. Big self and keep it real. What a passion. All gas, no break, in and out of traffic. You see your brother on a hole, respect the passions. Whether they outlaws or outcasts. Big sales top 5 when you in traffic. Ride your ride, mind your business, stay in your own lane. Respect others and accept the game. Spread black love the old fashioned way. You miss the West with the South, this a master pass. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell in your radio. FHO, FHO, FHO. Sell on your radio.
Again, appreciate y'all, man. I love you guys. Thank you for the calls. Thank you for the donations. Don't forget, man, support the channel, support the platform. I need you. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. And again, man, I love you guys. Don't forget the 5 things I'm gonna leave you with. Ride your own ride, stay in your own lane, mind your business, have enough love in yourself to have some love for me. We're gonna ride for love and let it ride, man. We gone, man.
This is FHO Live Podcast, where the truth will be told. We promise you that.
FHO, FHO, FHO.
What up, y'all? This Big Punch from the motherfucking candy shop. We chilling over here with Big Seal, man, the FHO, NICKEMNY, man. You know what I mean? All the alphabets, man. We got all that shit going. Holla.
What up? This is Chris from Exclusive Sounds. When I'm not doing music on bikes, I'm tuned in to the FHO Podcast Radio.
Yo, man, it's your boy Big Sarge from Florida Chapter Soul Brothers, man. Y'all know how I do it. I'm always listening to my man Big Seal from FHO Podcast Radio. Keep it motorcycle.
Yo, this is Visions by Cinnamon Smiles. If I'm not advertising, networking, or promoting for you, I'm tuned in to FHO Radio with Big Seal, shouty.
Yo, this hot boy on a Red Breed Mother Chapter out of Compton, California. Tuned in to FHO. All the way from 310 to the 404. Y'all know how this shit go.
What's up, Big Sale? This is your boy Passionate from the Light Ministry Biker Church from Los Angeles, California. When we're not riding, we listen to FHO Podcast Radio.